Welcome to Indigo Touch. Kamago Tokozani Lisedi. Today we are talking about spiritual awakening. What is the spiritual awakening we keep talking about, and what happens when one is going through spiritual awakening? That is what we are talking about today. But first, we look at what exactly is spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is a process we go through when the consciousness is expanding, when we are going through spiritual evolution. So these sets of stages will differ from person to person in terms of experience, but then this is like a skeleton, just a rough draft of izinto that we generally go through as a collective. And of course, individual experiences will vary from person to person. So if this is a topic that interests you, please do like, please subscribe, and please share this with anyone else who might benefit from it. And let's get straight into the video. So I think first and foremost, into eyenzekayo is there is that preparatory stage. There is that stage we call it dark night of the soul. Now this is when we experience trauma, we experience loss, we experience this feeling of grief, and at that point we still don't know about what exactly is happening. All we know is that there is this feeling of being disconnected. It kind of feels like we are being uprooted, and there's this general feeling of loss of self, and also there will be resulting losses. Losing izinto that we attached our identity to. Some people lose their wealth, some people lose their friendships, lose relationships, and this is because at that time we are losing izinto that we have attached our identity to, because we attach a lot of meaning and identity to izinto that are materialistic. But what are we when we are independent of lento that we have made to be part of our identity? Who are you without your wealth? Who are you without these relationships, without these friendships, without this large friendship circle? And for me, it was loss of I don't want to say loss of intellect as such, but then there was a disturbance in izinto, because I think I attached a lot of my identity on intelligence, on intellect, the ability to retain information. And during that time, I've never failed in my life, and that was the very first time I failed during that period in my life. And it really made me think, ukuba, as much as I pride myself in this, in my ability to memorize, in my ability to retain large volumes of knowledge, but do I really understand what I am retaining? Who am I when I'm independent of this ability to memorize? So it was simply a way of getting me to awaken to the other side of what I pride myself in, because I've been looking at it from one angle. But do I really know how to put things into perspective? Do I really know how to process this information that I am memorizing? So that was just a rough example. Ukuba, it's not always izinto that are material that we lose at that time. Sometimes it's izinto that we start losing izinto, so we can be able to look at them from another angle. So this is a period of general loss, and this is a period of loss of self, because suddenly you just feel like you don't know yourself. You look in the mirror and you don't relate to the person you are seeing, or you can't identify who it is that you are seeing, but it just feels like this is someone else. This is not you. So this is the dark night of the soul. It is like the base, the foundation of as stages. This is when we start noticing ukuba something is happening. We are undergoing a certain evolution. And then soon after, we experience this feeling of wanting to be alone. So during that time, dark night of the soul, it felt like things are running away from you. But during this stage, you may actively want to get away from certain things. It may be a trauma response, because now we have lost ezizinto that we have put meaning to, and now we are trying to shield ourselves, to protect ourselves, not to get attached to anything lest it run away from us too. So during this period, we may be isolative, we may be in isolation. The isolation may be forced in the sense that people just completely leave. people just leave, or you may actively take yourself out of certain circles and just want to be alone. Why does this happen? Why this need to be in solitude? This is a period when we are experiencing, we are looking at the world from the outside. We are looking at the chaos from outside. This is a time we should be using to evaluate the choices we've made, the things that we have been doing, and see ukuba what was serving me, what was not. Because it is hard to evaluate ourselves when we are deep inside the chaos. We have to be outside of the chaos. We have to be outside of the world. We have to detach from the world so we can really see how the world functions. This is why esikolweni, when we are being shown a certain process, there will be flow diagrams, there will be models to show us ukuba this is how this works. For example, there is a diagram on precipitation, and we don't see when water is evaporating and condensing and stuff. So we have a diagram that shows us ukuba this is what is happening. Why do we have that diagram? That diagram serves as us seeing land from outside, because we cannot see it when we are inside. When we are part of it, we cannot see water evaporating because we are here. But when we look at it from outside, we are able to understand that this is what is happening. This is what is happening. So it's almost the same thing that happens. This is a period when we are seeing the world from outside, and we are actively deciding, okay, I'm going to cut this out of my life because I can see ukuba this thing will lead me to indawo ethile. This is something that was not serving me at all. So that is when we cut ties with some things, and we also choose ukuba this is a habit, or this is a practice I'm going to keep doing because it has gotten me out of izinto that are horrible, out of horrible situations, out of unsavory situations. So this is a time also of evaluating that. It's not only evaluating the bad, but also evaluating about what is it that I have been doing right, what have I been doing. And then there is a period when the consciousness starts to expand in a way that we see it. So this is when we start having our senses heightened. We start seeing izinto before zenzeke. We start having these sensations and feelings and emotions. This is the opening up. We start sensing energies. You get into a room, you sense the energy. You meet someone, you sense a certain energy, you can see certain things. So this is a time when all our psychic senses are starting to awaken slowly but surely. This is accompanied by a lot of doubt, and that is why we may not even realize something is awakening, because this is a new life altogether. This is not something we have known before. This is not something most of us were prepared to deal with. So you find yourself going through certain changes, it's like going through puberty all over again, but now you don't know what to expect. It's just these changes happening, this new life you've been ushered into. So this is when the dreams may start. The psychic senses are starting to awaken, and you get dreams that give you a glimpse into who you are. So during this time, abanye abantu know exactly what to do. When they start dreaming of candles, when they start dreaming of themselves singing, they know exactly what to do, how to align with who they are seeing, because they know ukuba who they are seeing is not someone separate. When they start seeing ugogo holding a candle, they know ukuba that gogo is not someone external. That gogo is me, which is something else. We usually look at our ancestors, we look at our guides as izinto that are separate from us, but they are not separate. Those are us. So there are people who are able to recognize it at an early stage and will align immediately. But unfortunately, I'm one of these people who did not know what to do with this, so I just ignored it because I just wanted to see where it goes, because I didn't know what to do. But I'm seeing a candle, now what? So for people who don't know how to align at that time, we may actively suppress it, and then we reach a point where some may start experiencing sicknesses, pain in joints, painful headaches, and certain sensations that feel like the sensation of something ingati you're about to burp, but then there's no burping. It feels like something is blocked. Maybe sensations in the spine, like there's this sensation that is stuck somewhere. It may be stuck at the base of the spine, that is the root chakra that needs to be liberated, maybe stuck anywhere in the spine or up in the middle of the body. So those sensations start resulting kengoku because we are suppressing lelanduga, we are suppressing these sensations that are starting to awaken. So I think this is going to be a very long video, so I'm going to pause here and then do a part 2 of this. I think I will upload that tomorrow.